Well, I think that I was, because of the way that I came into the company, which I had a feeling that it was a lot of Terry Taylor pushing for me and you pushing for me, but then I had heard that, that, well, it had just taken me so long to get in there that I never really felt like my spot was very secure. And so, yeah, I really did put it all on the line for the show. And whenever I felt like, Abyss and Mick had the spot scouted pretty well. And, again, only thing I would have done differently is to kind of push for the idea of getting a table and gimmicking the table. Then, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just, yeah, you just want to do whatever you can to make it important and to be memorable. And so I guess that's what was going through my head at the time. I felt Stevie was really adamant and did not want me to do it. But, Mick and Abyss were, Mick said, it'll be great. It'll be like a Hell in the Cell bump. And that kind of made me think, wow, maybe I should, this is an honor. And I just wanted to, again, do well, not mess up, make sure I hit my cue. And so that's kind of like what I tried to do.
So basically what happened was your head comes down, boom, slams against the very thin mat. Now, Daphne, do you know immediately there's a problem, or is it the after effects the next day? When do you know that you're seriously injured?
Well, when Abyss pulled the guardrail in, so the walkway was really narrow, and so when I went down, my arm hit the guardrail. And then I went through the piece of plywood that threw me backwards more, and my head hit first. And I thought my arm was broken, and I knew it was just my arm and my head, my arm and my head. I got backstage. They iced up, put a bunch of ice on my elbow, which is where it hit. And then I talked with Abyss and Mick about the match and Terry. And I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden I just started getting really lightheaded and started seeing double. And I was like, oh yeah, and I hit my head too. And he started, he asked me if I was seeing double, and I started getting really loopy. And I knew something was pretty wrong. Yeah, I had really bad side effects of afterwards. I had, and I still have to this day, I have light sensitivity. I have headaches all the time. I just went to the movies for the first time, so I'm able to go to the movies again, but not on roller coasters. But then emotionally, it messes with you, and when you've already got those emotional and mental issues, it really, really messed with me, and the balance that I had achieved, the concussions really took me quite a few steps backwards.
Yes, worst bump ever taken for me was Bam Bam,
the pelvis.
With my pelvis. But that was so much pain. I mean, even to this day, I have pain. I'm probably gonna have to get hip replacement eventually.
Mine's Bound for Glory, 2009 in LA with Mick Foley and Abyss in a barbed wire match, and Stevie was the guest referee.
Mm-hmm.
It also made me realize, geez, Daphne was so good. She had that commitment to character, and she went a direction that no one else did, and came along a little too early. If I think at that time, the the idea was, well, you can't be a WWE diva and look like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought she was really a groundbreaker. Loved watching her get into that character, and you know, thinking back, I was like, yeah, when I was in TNA, I was like, I definitely want Daphne to be part of what I'm doing, and she was a really valuable part of it. So thank you, Daphne, for being you.
And I truly believe, like, there's no history of early menopause in my family. There's no history of thyroid problems in my family. And I just think it's all the stupid bumps I took.
And then something I should have prepped to see if we want to talk about this, but you ended up getting injured at at TNA Impact or whatever you want to call it. But later on, while working for Shine, you actually got to talk and make up with Mary Cates about this. There was, if you believe the internet rumors, there was heat. There was all this for the longest time, but then you got to work with Mary Kate, who injured you, and is a wrestling thing, and so
It's actually it was I got my first one in October of '09, and that one was the real bad one. That was in LA. That was the Barbed Wire and Mick Foley and Abyss, and my brain bounced. I had a brain bleed. They gave me an MRI. They're like, we're gonna watch you. We're gonna have to give you another one in the morning.
Right.
Luckily by the morning, but it was bad. So I was really out of it for a long time, and then I was working my way back in. It's unfortunate that I got, that ended my career with the head injuries, but that's why I tell people, protect that head, man.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been there, done that, and knock on wood, hopefully no more. But do you still watch wrestling at all?
Oh, you froze for a second. Do I still watch what?
Do you still watch wrestling?
It's hard for me because it kind of triggers me. It makes me sad.
And I think the case had been settled, and she wanted to share her experiences with everybody. She wanted to let everybody know what she had gone through, and she was talking to me about doing a podcast. And listen, man, I love doing podcasts with people I love. And during the conversation I had with her, she was getting very emotional. And there were times when she was getting upset, going back on her career and reflecting on some parts of her career. I even remember she brought up something that she thought somebody else was responsible for, or somebody else had written, and actually it was me. And she went on about it, and she was upset about it. And I had to say to her, Daphne, that was me. And I had to explain to her, Daphne, this was my intention. And this is why I wrote that scene, because obviously at that moment, she didn't understand the writing behind the scene. So I was writing one thing, seeing it one way. She was seeing it another way. And I guess I was too busy that day to really explain it to her. So after all these years, I got to explain to her. I said, Daphne, that was me. And this is what I was looking for. But she was emotional. But she was not emotional to the point of I felt she was suicidal. I can tell you that thought, that feeling never, ever crossed my mind. Never. So I told Daphne, I said, flush this thing out. You're throwing a lot of ideas at me. Flush this thing out, lay it out, put it in some type of a outline. Send it to me when you have it, and then we'll discuss the show. And that was the last I spoke of her. And she didn't follow up on it. I never got an outline. And I never spoke to her again.